Good day to all. Good day to all. This is Remya Rose, Assistant Professor from Department of Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning, RMD Engineering College. This video we are going to see the different types of schedules. So before going into different types of schedule, let me first tell what is a schedule. Schedule is nothing but the order by which you execute something, you perform a task or whatever it is. So scheduling is the way by which you order or you plan or you make something execute one by one or in a jumped version or whatever it is. So schedule is nothing but an order by which the instructions are executed or the programs are executed. Good day to all. This is Remya Rose, Assistant Professor from Department of Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning, RMD Engineering College. This video, let's see about the types of schedule. So before going into the types of schedule, let me tell you what is a schedule. See, scheduling or schedules are nothing but the order by which the different transactions are executed. So in DBMS, when we consider transactions, there are different types of transactions, and each transaction could be executed in some or other ordered manner or unordered manner. So schedules tell you how these transactions are executed. So this is the pictorial representation of types of schedule. So scheduling, I told you, it is the order by which your transactions are going to be executed. So this could be broadly classified or categorized into two. One is the serial schedule and other one is non-serial schedules. So non-serial schedules are again classified into serializable schedule and non-serializable schedule. And serializable schedule could be again categorized to conflict serializable and view serializable. Again, non-serializable schedule could be a recoverable schedule or a non-recoverable schedule. And non-recoverable schedule could be a cascading schedule, a cascadeless, or a strict schedule. So this is actually the pictorial representation of types of schedule. In this video, let's see in detail about each schedule. So first is serial schedule. See, serial schedule, by the name you can understand that each transaction is executed in an orderly way, one after the other. So it is like, suppose you have some 3 transactions, other 2 transaction waits until the first transaction completes its execution. So serial schedule happens in a way that each transaction is executed one after the other. So there are chances of other transaction waiting for one transaction to complete its execution. So next one is going to be the complete reverse of this one. Non-serial schedule. Since it is non-serial, these transactions are not going to be executed in an orderly way, like other transactions are not going to wait for the first transaction to complete its execution, but then every transaction will be executed concurrently. So non-serial schedule could be again categorized into types. One is serializable and non-serializable. See, serializable is nothing but, see, now I told you it is coming under a type non-serial only. So we are not going to do this execution of transaction one by one. But in certain situation, there may be concurrency problem when different executions are different transactions are executed concurrently. So in a non-serial schedule, normally all the transactions will be executed concurrently. When concurrent execution happens, at times there are chances for concurrency issues. There may be violation with the rights. So when we are performing continuous reads, we will not have have any violation. But then when we perform a read after a write, if it is not properly committed, so before committing, so suppose, say for example, there are 2 transactions, T1 and T2. T2 is reading something from T1, but T1 has not committed properly. So if suppose after T2 reads it, T1 rollbacks, there are chances for false read or wrong information to be fetched by T2. So in such concurrent situation, issues with concurrency, the non-serial schedule could be converted into a serial schedule. So the process by which you convert or you reframe your non-serial schedule into a serial schedule, you call it a serializable schedule. And that serializable schedule could be a conflict serializable or a view serializable. See, conflict serializable is nothing but when you have a non-serial schedule, So non-serial schedule in the sense you will have more than 2 or 3 transactions, and each transaction will have 2 operations done, read or a write. So when you have continuous reads, writes in an order for each transaction, certain swapping could be done for any non-conflicting operation under each transaction. Thereby, you may convert your non-serial schedule into a serial schedule. That you call it as a serializable schedule. And the way by which you convert your non-serial into a serial with the help of swapping non-conflicting operation, you call it as a conflict serializable schedule. And view serializable schedule is nothing but a schedule is called view serializable if it is view equal to a serial schedule. View equal to a serial schedule in the sense this is actually not a serial schedule, but then because of the framing of the operations or because of the continuous reads or because of the types of operation in these transactions, it looks like a serial schedule. So that you call it as a view serial schedule. Now we are coming into a non-serializable type. So non-serializable, we have again recoverable and non-recoverable schedule. Under recoverable, we have cascading, cascadeless, as well as strict schedule. So cascading schedule is a way. See, recoverable now we know when there exists some problem, the problem could be, the problem could be recovered. It can go back to its state where the problem has not happened. So cascading schedule is a type in which inner scheduling, if suppose there exists a failure in one transaction, it rollbacks and it also performs the same to all the dependent transactions. So if suppose T1 rollbacks, T1 insists T2 and T3. If suppose T2 and T3 has read information from T1, so all the transactions rollbacks. So that you call it as cascading schedule. Cascadeless schedules na, these cascadeless schedules, they are not going to do any rollbacks. Why? Because this will perform read only after a commit. So now I know if suppose T2 is reading from T1, only after T1 commits, now T2 is strong enough to understand that they have read the right information. So there is no need for any rollbacks because T2 has read it from T1 after its commit. So this is kind of reverse with cascade. Cascading schedule, in cascading schedule, you are performing rollbacks and insisting the dependent schedules, dependent transactions to roll back too. Cascadeless, you're not going to go with any rollbacks because you perform the read only after other transaction commit. Strict schedule is nothing but you perform write operation with no conflicts. A schedule is said to be strict. Suppose you have two schedules, T1 and T2, or a TI or TJ. A write operation of TI precedes a conflicting operation of TJ, either read or write. Sometimes there will be a conflict with the write operation in TJ, or there will be a conflict in write operation with TI. In such case, what happens is the commit or abort event of TI also proceeds. So whenever there exists a conflicting operation, there directly jumps into abort operation. So the machine is aborted. So they are not performing the write, they are not performing the read. Thereby, the problem could be recovered. So these are the types of schedules. So it could be a serial, which means one after the other the transactions are executed. Non-serial, there is no prior order like one need to wait till the other. All the transactions will be concurrently executed. In serializable, this is a type in which a non-serial could be converted into a serial schedule. This is, they are not going to be converted, whereas it has got recoverable and non-recoverable. Recoverable in the sense, if suppose there exists a failure, it could be recovered back to its original state by cascading rollbacks. Sometimes they don't need any cascading rollbacks because they are reading only after a commit. Strict schedules, they strictly see when they are performing the operation itself, they strictly try to find whether there exists a conflict. If suppose there exists a conflict, the operation is not done. So no rollback is required because once the operation identified to be a conflicting statement, they perform a abort there itself. So these are the types of schedule. Hope you understood. Thank you.